Hi, Petrina Barson here, and I'd like to talk you through a model of compassion that I call the compassion train. So it's based on some work done by some researchers at the University of California, Berkeley, but modified in my particular way. So it's basically a model of how, without necessarily knowing that we're doing it, we can be making decisions about whether to ration our compassion or not. Unconsciously, we treat compassion as a limited resource, and so we decide whether we will kind of spend it in any situation or not. So as it turns out, the first thing that we are making an assessment of, often unconsciously, is whether or not the suffering that we encounter in another person is relevant to us. For example, is that person part of our family or our sense of community? Are they someone to whom we kind of feel any notion of loyalty or obligation? And if that person is, we unconsciously deem them not to be, we don't owe them anything, then we fall off the compassion train, as I think of it. And so we fall perhaps into apathy. We haven't really even got to first base in terms of feeling that that person's suffering warrants a response from us. But if we stay on the compassion train, if that person's suffering we feel is relevant to us, then the next unconscious decision we're making is, do we feel that they are deserving of our compassion? And there are many reasons why we may think that they are not. We might think that they're responsible for causing their own suffering, therefore we shouldn't have to do anything about it. We may think that they are evil or their behaviour is beyond the pale, so we don't owe them anything. So if we decide that they're not deserving, then we fall off the compassion train in a different way, perhaps into cynicism. We kind of close our hearts to that person and think that and feel that we don't owe them any compassion. If we stay on the compassion train, though, at this point, if we deem them to be deserving, then really the next question we're asking ourselves is, do we feel that we have the resources to respond? Do we feel personally rich enough or calm enough or skillful enough to respond to the person's suffering? And if we don't, then we fall off the compassion train in a different way, often into a sense of overwhelm. Maybe we just think that it's too much. We haven't got anything to give at the moment. But if we stay on, if we manage all those things, if we manage the sense of whether that person's suffering is relevant, if we manage that judgment we tend to make about deservingness, and if we manage our own capacity to mobilize our resources, then maybe after all that work, we stay on the compassion train. So we're doing a lot when we're mobilizing compassion, and in our time together in strengthening the heart, we'll be looking at all these processes and how we can more reliably stay on the compassion train.